Welcome to the class. Once again, I'm Andrew Mead. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm excited to show you everything that React can do. Now is an excellent time to dive into the world of React, as React is quickly taking over application development. With React, you can build web applications that run in the browser. You can build native mobile applications that run on iOS and Android devices, and you could build desktop applications running on Mac, Windows, and Linux. I'm excited to get started with the class and dive into React, but before we do, there are two important things I want to cover in this video. First up, I want to talk about how we're going to learn React, so the course curriculum. How are we going to get from where we are now to where we want to be, which is to be able to build and launch our own React applications. The second thing we're going to talk about in this video is how you can get help as you move through the class. All right, let's get started and talk about the course curriculum. The curriculum for this class is broken up into two major parts, and in each part, you'll end up building a complete React application. We'll be starting with the fundamentals of React, and we'll be building on that knowledge over time until we're covering the most advanced React topics. Along the way, there are over 90 programming challenges designed to test what you've learned and to give you real-world experience writing code, solving problems, and building your own React apps. The goal of this class is to give you the real-world tools and knowledge required to build your own React apps when you're done the class. Now, in part one, we're going to start by building our indecision application. Here, we're going to focus on learning and mastering the fundamentals of React. You'll get answers to questions like, how do I build a React application? How do I render some content to the screen using basic React code? And how do I respond to user interaction, something like a form submission? In part two, we're going to move on to more advanced topics as we build the expense manager. Here, we'll be exploring not only the most advanced React techniques, but also other libraries in the React ecosystem like React Router and Redux. We'll be using all of these advanced tools to build an application with client-side routing, user accounts, authentication, data storage, and more. Most importantly, you'll learn how to deploy your React applications to a production environment on the web so your apps are accessible to everyone. Now, we're going to get into all of that shortly, but before we do, I want to move on to part two of this video and talk about how you can get help as you're moving through the class. You're not working through this class alone. You're joined by me and the thousands of other students who are currently taking the class. As you move through the course, you might need help. Maybe you're running your React application, but when you pull it up in the browser, you get a blank screen instead of the app content. Or maybe you run a command from the terminal, but instead of getting the expected result, you get some sort of cryptic error message. Regardless of what's going wrong, you can get help in the course Q&A. You can find a link to the course Q&A below the video player in the class. There you can browse previously asked and answered questions, and you can likely get a solution to your problem right away. If not, that's fine too. You can always ask a brand new question in the Q&A. All that I ask is that you provide as much information as possible. Now, there are three components to a good question. One is context. What exactly were you trying to do when things went wrong? Did you write some code and save it? Did you click a button? Were you running a specific command? The second thing is a screenshot or two. If you are getting some sort of error message, including a screenshot of the error message can provide valuable information about what went wrong. Last up is your application code. So if you're running into a problem with your React app, go ahead and zip up your project code and include that with the question. That will allow me to actually download and run your project to see what's going wrong. The number one reason that I can't help students as quick as I'd want to is because they're running into a code issue, but I don't have access to the code. So I have to ask for it, and that back and forth can take a little while. All right, so we know exactly how we're going to cover React, and you know how to get help if you get stuck. Let's go ahead and jump into the next video and talk about why you should learn React.